Hello everybody, it's me, your good friend Sparky, and welcome to the final video on the GameCube version of Pikmin. We are playing through Challenge Mode on the last map of Challenge Mode, the final trial. And I don't know about you guys, but those high scores there might be a little tough to beat. Yeah, you unlock Challenge Mode maps by playing through the maps in Story Mode. And you finish the final trial and unlock it by basically completing the game. And considering that I never actually beat the game before recently actually buying this version of the game to do this project, yeah, I don't have any high scores for the final trial in the GameCube version of Pikmin. Just as a matter of circumstances, the high score list is completely blank, meaning that there's no pressure to perform well. But we're gonna do our best anyway. And the final trial is actually a pretty interesting map in general in Challenge Mode. For one, it's one of those maps that actually adds enemies to it, much like the Impact site did. There are now a few enemies, a couple little Bulborbs. There's a Wollywog up ahead who's going to be really annoying to deal with. But also, there's the fact that you start with 100 Pikmin on the field. There is no growing extra Pikmin from the onions. You are basically meant to find all of your Pikmin as you explore the map. Which is definitely an interesting twist on things, though it does sort of skew the results a bit, right? There's always going to be, like, a base score of 100. And the only way you can really technically do poorly on this map is if, you actually get more Pikmin eaten than you grow, and you have under 100 Pikmin by the time you finish. Which I suppose is entirely possible. Though, hopefully unlikely. As a result, though, it kind of skews the high score list, because there's always going to be at least 100 Pikmin. I guess the main goal would end up being to try and get at least 200 Pikmin? That would be, like, a pretty good, baseline for getting a high score on the, Distant Spring, the final trial, excuse me. The thing about the final trial, though, is that this map is very compact. There isn't a lot of, like, wiggle room to really do things here. And as a result, it's just not easy. It's much... I mean, yeah, technically you start with 100 Pikmin. But for one thing, you gotta go find them. And it's not really too simple, because all of the barricades that are up normally on the final trial are also here that we need to clear out. We need to build the bridges, we gotta move the box, we gotta knock down the gates to get to into the arena area. Yes, that's his words. These yellow Pikmin are trapped over here, so we still gotta make kind of like a long distance throw. The one difference is that there's no bomb rock gate, so they do save us a little time with that. But you do have the added sort of annoyance of enemies that are scattered about. Like that guy, that frog, always makes me nervous. Just, he's right close by to the land, and technically when you're over there working on bridges and stuff, you're like just out of reach. But you don't really start with enough Pikmin to really properly deal with him. You need to gather up a lot of blues in order to safely defeat that particular Wollywog. And we have this temptation of this 5 pellet that's just sometimes a little too close to him, And it's just, he's a constant menace lurking about, and it's no fun, honestly. And, he's not the only kind of scary enemy that's around here. We got some sheer grubs. They're not too bad to deal with. There's some more Bulborbs located elsewhere. There's also a couple kind of big enemies, too, that are scattered about that eventually we'll run into. But yeah, man, the final trial, just, like, adding enemies to this map gives it, like, a whole new level of anxiety. Because when you're here in story mode, the challenge is just trying to get everything you need to done in order to make it to the last arena where you fight Emperor Bulblax. But here, it's the same deal. You gotta clear the way so you can get to where all the goodies are. But you've also got enemies to deal with, which just adds a different layer of challenge to it. And hi, very, very loud fire jets. I wish there was a way to turn down the volume on you, but unfortunately I can't. Yeah, man, final trial, just in general, it's usually not a very fun thing to deal with. That was me deciding if I was going to tempt fate and try getting that 5 pellet for a second, but I decided against it. And Olimar's kind of freaking out a little for some reason. He's kind of twitching around. I don't know why. But we get the bridge built. We get our red Pikmin over here to push the box. Maybe. There it goes. Okay. Box gets pushed, and we get to go about our merry way and go over to the main arena where the Emperor Bulblax once was. Thankfully, there is no Bulblax on the map anymore. We don't really have to worry about that. Alright, they moved the bomb rock gate, that's right. It's in a different location now. There's still bomb rocks to potentially get. And also, these Pikmin haplessly deciding to try and pick grass, and also getting eaten in the process. An interesting thing to note, though, about the final trial is that it does kind of give you an insight to how the whole flower growing mechanic works when Pikmin are planted. Since there are Pikmin planted, like, right at the beginning of the day, they start off as leaf Pikmin, then they'll gradually turn into bud Pikmin, and then they'll gradually turn into flower Pikmin. But an aspect that is not really addressed in story mode or in Olimar's logs or anything like that is that eventually the flower Pikmin sort of cycle back to their planted state, where you can't pick them. Whoops! Almost threw a yellow Pikmin to his doom there. That was a bad thing. There are some bomb rocks hidden in this box for us. Always check the box for bomb rocks. And, yeah. Because eventually, you get to the point where, there are no longer, there won't be any Pikmin to pick. And you'll be confused as to, like, what the heck is going on. Also, this 20 pellet up here, surrounded by fire. Generally, I usually don't see the point in going for that particular pellet. It just seems like a lot of a big waste of time. But yeah, you'll get to a point where you see Pikmin planted, and then when you come back later, you'll notice that they're gone. And that is actually because they cycle back to seed form after a while. I don't know if that's... Oh, yep, there you go. See, now they are regrowing. I don't know if that's, like, some kind of weird oversight they don't expect you to see in regular gameplay, or if that's always, like, meant to do that. But once they cycle back to seed form, they do transform back into leaf Pikmin, so if you don't pick them quick enough, you lose out your chance at getting free flower Pikmin. And also, with Emperor Bulblax gone, there's still someone here, though. As someone has taken up residency, it is another Beady Long Legs. How you doing, buddy? How's it going? Truth be told, I completely forgot that he was even there. This was the first time playing challenge mode at the final trial in a long time. There are a couple aspects to this that I just completely forgot about, but... yeah, the Beady Long Legs is here, just kind of stomping around. And as per usual, just going after him with yellow Pikmin is generally the better idea. You don't really... I mean, technically red Pikmin would be able to finish him off faster, but you have to wait for him to sort of be in range. With yellow Pikmin, you can just kind of keep the consistent attacks up. So you don't have to worry about, you know, a big group of red Pikmin getting smashed in the meantime if you're trying to attack him. And, yeah. Just taking out this guy in general, a pretty good idea. He's got some prizes for us. No ship parts this time, but he does have some pellets inside of him for us to take on our merry way. And there we go. Beady Long Legs round 2 finished. Lots of 10 pellets, and all red 10 pellets for some reason. It is random what pellets kind of show up. I don't even know how these blue guys got over here, honestly. I don't remember them being there, but whatever. The pellets that get generated for enemies are kind of random, so it's a little annoying when it is all the same color, because you can't really make use of getting the maximum number of Pikmin if they're all the same color, because you can't, like, effectively split up your Pikmin, especially considering typically you're working with a limited number of Pikmin on this particular map. So, considering the day is sort of winding down, it just, in general, makes more sense to kind of just give them to whoever, and then maybe fix our mistakes a little later. Also up here, it's our good old friend, the Burrowing Snagret, but we're not gonna say hi to him, we're just gonna run away, because the Burrowing Snagret is generally just not an okay thing to deal with. Which is something that I, in the Wii version, I did not consider. But we'll see to that when we get to that, I suppose. And, yeah. Day's winding down. This particular map, much like the Impact site, is just... It generally seems like it's just a little shorter than the other days. I guess just because it's a smaller map and the general structure of things. But, yeah. There ends up not being... I think they were actually taking that back to the right onion, and I ended up messing it up, and ended up costing me a few Pikmin because of that. And yeah, once things just kind of start winding down during the day, it can be hard to actually get more Pikmin on this map. Because there is kind of just a long distance they've got to walk from over here, where the majority of your biggest pellets and things are, all the way back to camp. So, yeah, the last few moments of the day here, we don't really end up accomplishing much. It's a little disappointing. But, you know, all the same, we ended up doing pretty good, all things considered. Scores on the final trial just end up typically being lower than normal, just because of the, like, main structure of the map and the structure of how this particular challenge is designed, I guess. Where you've got to find your Pikmin instead of growing them. And again, it kind of skews the high score because the fact that you start with 100 Pikmin on the map. So technically, we only grew 86 Pikmin there over the course of a day, which isn't that impressive, I suppose. It could definitely be a lot better, but the final trial is definitely, much like the Distant Spring, a challenge mode map that requires a lot of practice in order to do very good at. But hey, it's a high score. It exists. It is our only high score for the final challenge in challenge mode. The final trial in challenge mode, excuse me. On the GameCube version, at least. We'll get to the Wii version tomorrow. And, yeah, that is actually going to wrap it up for the GameCube version of Pikmin. Overall, again, my thoughts on the GameCube version. I think the later version of this game, the Wii version, and later Pikmin games in general, they've just got more refined controls and things like that. But the GameCube version, still a solid experience. If this is the version you prefer playing, more power to you. I completely understand. And, yeah, that's gonna be it. So, thank you very much for watching. This is your good friend Sparky signing off for now, and I will catch you later.